What is going on? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to talk to you about NIO. I want to go over some of the current data points, break it down on what is really moving it, and go over everything else you need to know. But first, make sure to hit that thumbs up, and with that, let's get right to it. So NIO is up 2.18% during the pre-market. At the same time, you're seeing a lot of volume, so meaning throughout the trading day, today should be a fairly high volume day. Most of the volume does kick in once NIO and the market does open, because that's where the large entities, dependent on where they want to take NIO, they either buy calls or puts, and then that way they can get kind of benefit twofold. A little bit of manipulation, but then again, that's nothing new with NIO. A couple of things I do want to talk on that's really pushing NIO higher. One is this right here. So NIO and Zeekr enter into a kind of a strategic agreement, allowing their users access to each other's charging stations in China. I think this is more of a benefit to Zeekr rather than NIO, given NIO's infrastructure. But at the same time, though, like maybe there's some kickback to NIO as far as dollar value. This doesn't actually state this at all in the article, but you never know. That could really help NIO in that capacity. So that did come out, and maybe it's adding a certain level of buying. But I feel like the biggest reason why NIO and majority of the market is higher is because of the courts striking down Trump's April tariffs. There's been a lot of articles coming out saying that technically Trump can easily counter this, but for face value, you see the market seeing this as extremely optimistic. Even China is welcoming the US court ruling against Trump tariffs. So they're starting to chirp, and I feel like there's been more back and forth. So the White House, especially given Nvidia's earnings, has been really stopping a lot of kind of chips and technology moving over to China. So there clearly is more bad blood still. So I feel like there might be some more issues down the line, but definitely the market seeing that as a strong positive. So NIO's kind of moving higher. No macro data points coming from China. In the States, we do have GDP coming out in roughly 2 minutes, and most likely that is going to move NIO. Not obviously because of the data exactly, but rather because of algorithmic trading. So algos will be picking up off of the GDP and then moving accordingly, and NIO obviously will be kind of moved as well. But one thing I do want to bring up though is during the pre-market, shorts aren't doing anything. So if history again repeats itself, that means that they are pretty much going to allow NIO to move higher. So that's kind of a good thing in my opinion. So 13.56% of the free floats being shorted, works out to be 209.26 million shares overall are being shorted. Shorts have really massively doubled down. You can see that from this green line recently. So on May the 26th, they just increased about a huge, massive amount. So they went from around 10% to that 13.5%. So shorts, again, have been the big kind of pain in NIO's back for a very long time. And it looks as though that they're gaining some more stronger momentum recently. But aside from that though, I think still the next big catalyst is going to be NIO's earnings as well as their monthly numbers. So that's pretty much going to be back to back, 1 day apart. So let me know your viewpoint on that in the comments below. Based on the options, you do see a consensus for it to be roughly around that $4 range ultimately by the end of the week. Bears are anticipating for it to be sub roughly between that 350 and 4. So given everything, you pretty much see right now where we're at as being a strong pivot. But right now with that 376 during the pre-market, it is trading between the pivot and this S1. So 329 is going to be a strong support. So far that hasn't been tested, so that's kind of a good thing. Flip side, $3.84. And so most likely that will be touched today in my opinion. I don't know if NIO will have enough to actually close above it, but most likely you will see a quick spike to that point and then probably just flirt around where it is now. So let me know your viewpoint on that. Aside from that, on the actual chart itself though, you do have to watch for this, a super trend indicator at 363. So if it does break below that, this is where you'll have algorithmic trading really working against NIO, and that's definitely not beneficial to anyone other than shorts. But one thing to really watch for though is that 50-day moving average, 394. That also is a very big deal historically for NIO. Every time it does get above that, closes 2 days consecutively above it, that usually results in like a 30% swing for the most part. And then aside from that, you have that 100 at 417. So all in all, it's NIO and just a lot of other Chinese stocks are looking for the next big catalyst. So let me know your thoughts on that in the comments below. Are you buying? Have you been buying? Last time I did buy, I think it was at 378 or 379. So it's I didn't catch the bottom exactly, but I think bigger picture, it's a pretty good risk versus reward at this stage. But anything is possible with NIO. I think we all know that at this stage in the game. So let me know your thoughts on NIO. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate that. One final thing, pop over to my Patreon. I give buy signals on stocks, options, crypto, many of which have been absolutely on point. So definitely worthwhile to pop over there and take a look. With all that said, appreciate all of you watching.